So we've got one down here. Step two, we're building the mountain. We're really uncovering what's going on for them. Like the first time, probably one of the main reasons I teach this process, this is the bulk of this is not my process. This is largely built on a process Sharon Pierce to teach from the Coaching Institute. Is a mentor of mine, and I've mixed in my experience and some other stuff to further clarify this process. Because in 20 years of selling or something, this is the process. The way I love this because it so eloquently explains what people need to go through a buying decision instead of what I need to close the sale and get paid my commission. So the reason, one of the things that, well, let me say this, the first two times I used this and I hadn't trained in it, I just like looked at it when I'll talk to clients like that. I got to 2, I didn't get to 3 because they were giving me their credit card details. Because 2 is uncovering what's most important to them. This is where if you're a people person, which from what I can see from all of you guys, you are, you get lost in them. Now, I'm about to give you 5 questions to give you some insight. If it's clunky and you don't know where to go with this, then I'll give you some questions. But really, it's a bit of freestyling and getting to what's most important to them and getting lost in them. So obviously, I talk about people's businesses, their growth, their sales growth. Like, obviously, I do this because I'm into it, but it's easy to get lost in someone's business as to why they started that business, where they're hoping to go, like what's working, what's not working. Like, well, how are you going with that? Like, how long has that been going on? Like, that's all conversations that I would say to someone at a barbecue. Now, 1 to 3, I want you to practice on all your friends and family, because what I'm giving you here, besides taking the credit card details, is a methodology for genuine connection with someone. You just have a little bit more training in it, a little bit more structure around it. Your good friends will maybe do this in a happenstance way because they genuinely care about you. So 2 is getting lost within someone, finding out what's most important to them. You're starting to work out where ordinary world is and starting to give them a hint of what extraordinary world is. You're not even so much detailing extraordinary world, but you're letting them know that, okay, I see that you're in ordinary world. You don't have to be there. There is another world. So I'm not starting to detail extraordinary world yet. What you want to be very aware of, and again, this is just, it builds connection. It's just a nice thing to do, but it actually helps the sale as well, is if you notice any qualities that you notice in someone, any attributes you see that will help them move forward or that you think are impressive, I would suggest you highlight them. Like something like, look, you know, what I love about you is you seem to have clarity around what you want. Now, this is also feeds into, as you'll see on that image, we've got the law of consistency. So I bring things up here, and I've mentioned the law of consistency before, haven't I? Everyone's familiar with that. Even if you, does everyone remember what it is? Okay. So let's start with some rules. When I ask a question, nod or shake your head, or if you have a question, put your hands up. And if we're all cool with that, give me a thumbs up. And if you're just like an awesome person that likes to overachieve, feel free to give me 2 up. And Tom, I know what you're doing. Thumbs, no other appendages, fingers. All right. So does no one remembers what the law of consistency is, which is cool if you don't. Okay. I just want to know whether I go over it, because I know I'm throwing you a shitload at you guys in this 8-week thing. So the law of consistency, the identity is the strongest force within the human psyche, right? So whatever you think you are, whatever you attach your identity to is extremely powerful. So if you, like Tills, if you see yourself as a brand strategist, and then for whatever reason, you can't do that job anymore. Or that's not a good example. Let's say you've got a tradesman, sees themselves as a carpenter. They hurt their back or their legs or something and they can't do that job anymore. They're forced out of it. And especially with middle-aged men and that, they will go through an identity crisis, which is, but I'm a chippy. I've always been a chippy. If I don't do this, who am I? Well, you are Bob, Joe, whoever. You're not a chippy. You're Bob who's trained in a chippy. But what we latch our identity, and if someone has that crisis, that can be very tough to go through. So be very careful with what you attach your identity to. You are not your profession. You are not a mum, dad, brother, sister. You are that. That's part of the many things you are. We're going into the law of consistency. If I say, and this happens with seeding as well, if I say, hey, you seem to make decisions, you seem to know what you want, and when you seed, you make decisions quickly and change them slowly, which is partly a compliment because that's what all high-performing entrepreneurs do. And you agree. If you agree with that, then you will have more clarity, make a decision quicker, and be very slow to change it, which is great if I'm going to ask you to buy my product or service, right? So if I notice something in you and you agree with it, you have to agree with it, whether this is one-on-one or in a presentation to a group where I say, hey, everyone, like, you know, the thing is that what I see so often is there's so many people out there, i.e. not us, so many people out there that say they want great results but aren't prepared to take action. Isn't that weird? Like, who here is prepared to take action? It's like, yeah, hell yeah. All right? Now, I'm igniting the law of consistency here. You see yourselves as action takers. So when I ask you to take an action, you are much more inclined to do it. Obviously, if I just say, hey, give me $1,000 for nothing, you're not just going to, like a zombie, go and do it. Or, you know, not like I'm hypnotizing you, but it's these little things where you're like an action taker. No, that's what I do. I'll step up to that plate. Yeah. So now in using that, we want to look at attributes that someone has that are cool attributes that might help them move forward. Like, you seem to have real clarity around what you want. You know, you seem to be very eloquent in the way you define things. You seem to be an action taker. You seem to be someone who makes decisions quickly. You know, all that type of stuff. Anything that, you know, like Teals, you might go, look, you seem to have some real creative flair, you know, and given a bit of structure, that, you know, that could be wonderful for you. Well, hell yeah, that'd be great. Okay, well, you've complimented them. You have creative flair. You will give them structure. They will move forward. Like, that's a part close as well. So that's part of this, but like with a friend, if you're talking with a friend and you're saying, you know what I love about you? What did someone said to me the other day that I'd never thought of, but they'd said, it was something like, oh, dude, you're just so fucking driven. You're just into everything you do. And it was just, we would just get our mountain bikes together to go for a ride. Like, but it stuck with me. I was like, oh, well, actually, yeah, man, I'm totally into everything I'm doing. And so he's just a good mate, and he's just saying some cool stuff that I think is reasonably accurate. And our relationship is better for it. Same with a prospect as well. So it's just nice things to do, you know. But if you say, hey, you're a real action taker, and in my head I'm like, fuck, dude, I haven't taken action in years. It's pointless. We've just broken trust. You're clearly trying to drive me somewhere that I may not want to go. So it works just as powerfully in the other way. Anyone's got any questions, they will put their hands up, yeah? So, yes. Yes? All right. So a main thing to think of with this sales process is a lot of the other sales trainings I've seen is about finding your pain point, getting out the cordless drill, drilling down into that pain point, making you feel like shit, and then going, hey, I'm your solution. All right? This is not that. And if that's how you want to play, more power to you, rock on. I'm not going to help you with that. Now, when you talk to someone, if they are really in pain and that's what they need and that's where they are, help them with that, right? But what you really want to be looking at is how can you elevate that, and I've got it here, elevate it to Oh, have I written it? A nominalization. So nominalizations is basically anything that doesn't fit in a wheelbarrow, like something that's not tangible. So, okay, so you really want to, it sounds to me like you're building this business because you want to create a legacy. Or it sounds to me like you're building this business because you want to lead by example for your kids. You don't want to just give them a business. You want to show them how to be a real person or whatever, like take it. We call it in the coaching world, chunking up. So I just want to hit my target. I want to build something cool. I want a legacy. I want to show people how to value themselves more highly. And it keeps going up to love. Love is the top, right? So take them up to that level. One thing that is really going to separate you from the competition and help you to make better connections and enjoy this process is to give people a further level of clarity than they would normally get. It's fun to do. It's cool as something to look out for. Instead of thinking there's a script I've got to get to, what you've got to get to is what's most important to them. What makes them tick. That's fun to do. That's just nice. You know what I mean? If you're doing that and I say, excuse me, if I give you further a deeper level of clarity, everyone's going to want that when we're talking about you. Everyone's like, oh, that's great. Tell me more about me. I give you a deeper level of clarity. That's going to make you feel good. You're going to want more of that. In order for you to get more of that, you need to hang out with me more. To hang out with me more, you need to buy my product or service. This is the stuff that's hanging around underneath. My man, Tom, loves the saying that I think we brought up before is people will forget, people forget what you did for them, something like this. People will forget what you did for them, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. Yeah, and you probably know the quote, and I've butchered it, but you get my point. So when I give you clarity, when I elevate whatever pursuit you're into to something higher that you agree with, like this has all got to be honest, then that's a different conversation. Then, if we're not a fit, where we come to level 4 and 5, we're not a fit. As soon as I can find someone that is a fit for you, I'm funneling them into you because I know that you're deeper and you care about that. We're helping them I've got here, they want the experience of feeling like they belong, matter, and that they can contribute. So, and that is in this whole process. For different businesses, different people, you can show your clients and prospects how to belong, how to feel like they're significant, and how they can contribute in many different ways. I want that to always be on your mind. So they go 5 questions: what, where, why, how, and when. And this is to help prompt you in step 2 that you may want to remember these or something like these to get the conversation flowing. Because if I ask good questions and then shut the fuck up, you will get talking, like Tilly was saying earlier on, you will connect better and people will voluntarily move down that emotional journey. First question is, what is their number 1 priority? Where will that affect you if you don't solve it? I would say don't ask them using the words I'm giving you now. They're a bit clinical. You know what I mean? So I'm stepping us out of the green brain back into the red brain, the logic brain, saying, so where will that affect you? It's a bit salesy. Have these some variation of these in the back of your mind, because this is to help you get to what the core of what's most important to them. Question 3. Why are they a priority? So where will that affect you if you don't solve it? You want 1 to 3 areas where that might affect you. Question 3 is, why are those areas a priority? Or why is it, that you need to look after this number 1 priority? Question 4, how long has it been like this? Now, this might be something like, Jesus, how long has that been going on? Like it wouldn't be, well, okay, how long has this been a problem for you in your business? Step 5, question 5, when do you need this fixed by?